Welcome, Radiant Leo. If you've stumbled upon this video today, I need you to know, you didn't just click on a horoscope. You answered a call from the universe. A storm of golden luck is coming, and your destiny is catching fire. This isn't a prediction, it's an activation. You're not here by accident. You're here because something deep within you knew, it's time. Time to rise, time to shed, time to burn through whatever's been holding you back and step into a chapter bursting with abundance, clarity, and cosmic momentum. Over the next few minutes, I'll walk you through the divine messages shaping your path from April 29th to April 30th, 2025. 2 days charged with golden energy, destined for breakthrough. But first, ask yourself this. Have you felt lately like your life is about to change, but you can't explain how? Has something been whispering to your soul, urging you to trust what's next? If yes, then stay. This reading isn't just about astrology, it's about alignment. And it's time to realign with your power. In Buddhist teachings, the present moment is always the doorway to transformation. The fact that you are here, now, watching this video, means you've already stepped through that doorway, and what lies on the other side is extraordinary. The Leo within you, bold, radiant, unstoppable, is awakening. In the next few days, you may start to feel a surge of intuitive fire. A storm of clarity. A rush of unexpected blessings. That's not coincidence, it's your soul calling in your next level. But this storm won't just happen to you. It's here for you. And you get to decide how you'll dance in the rain of golden luck. So before we dive deeper, I invite you to comment an angel number that speaks to you in this moment. It might be 111 for new beginnings, 888 for financial flow, or 555 for massive change. Whatever comes to mind first, trust it. It's your signal. And now, let me take a moment to offer my heartfelt gratitude. For every like, every comment, every subscription, you bring light to this sacred space we've built here at Eternal Mindfulness. Your energy fuels this channel, and your presence makes it possible for these transformational messages to keep flowing. I see you. I appreciate you. I thank you. So stay with me until the very end, Leo. Because what the universe is revealing right now is nothing short of breathtaking. And trust me, you do not want to miss what's coming next. Rather than rushing to make financial moves, this moment invites you to slow down and notice the frequency behind your money decisions. As April draws to a close, a new portal opens, not one of hustle, but of harmony. The Ace of Pentacles whispers its golden promise to you, Leo. There's a seed of wealth waiting to be planted, but it only thrives in the soil of conscious choice. Prosperity, contrary to popular belief, isn't always about accumulation. It's about circulation, how energy moves through your life with purpose and precision. Money, at its core, is a form of energy, and when approached mindfully, it becomes a bridge between survival and sacred alignment. What you do with it, how you direct it, and, most importantly, the vibration you hold when receiving or spending it, that's what determines the true wealth you'll hold. This is why the days ahead are asking you not just to seek more, but to become more magnetic to what already wants to find you. And magnetism doesn't come from force. It comes from resonance. That means it's time to take an honest look at where your money is going, and whether those patterns are reflecting your current level of self-worth and future vision, or clinging to outdated survival habits. Simple, grounded steps can realign you almost immediately. Begin by reducing emotional spending, those quick dopamine fixes that often leave you more drained than delighted. Create space for intentional joy, keep what genuinely feeds your energy, and gently release what only fills voids. Every small act of restraint is a declaration to the universe that you are ready for more, not through effort, but through elevation. Even a modest savings jar, tucked away with love and intention, can act as a ritual container for abundance. It's not the amount that matters, it's the energy you store in it. Similarly, beginning a small, long-view investment, even symbolic, shows that you trust your future enough to plant for it. Trust, after all, is the purest currency. And with each dollar that moves through your hands, pause. Breathe. Offer silent gratitude. Not for the transaction itself, but for the flow it represents. Just as a river gives life to all it touches, money, when honored, nourishes far beyond the material. In that spirit of appreciation, every expense becomes a prayer. Every income becomes a blessing returned. Numerologically, the energy of these days vibrates strongly with the numbers 8 and 1. 8 invites you to step into a mindset of limitless flow, the infinite loop of give and receive. 1, meanwhile, calls forth your courage to begin anew, to write a different money story, even if you've been trapped in old chapters for too long. Let green surround you, wear it, eat it, visualize it, for it symbolizes thriving. Gold, too, is more than glamour here, it's a reminder that your value is innate and cannot be negotiated. So no, Leo, you don't need to grind yourself into the ground to deserve wealth. You simply need to vibrate at the level of your truth. When you honor your inner worth, the outer world can't help but match it. And when you handle money as an extension of your integrity, not your insecurity, that's when the universe takes notice. That's when the golden storm begins. There's something liberating about slowing down on purpose, not out of exhaustion, but out of wisdom. After exploring how financial alignment flows from intentional energy, this part of your journey invites you to go deeper into the temple that holds it all, your body. The 6 of Swords in your reading carries a quiet message. It's time to move gently away from accumulated stress, both mental and physical, and begin creating a space where your life feels more like a retreat than a routine. The idea of turning everyday life into a kind of inner vacation might sound indulgent, but it's actually a profound act of self-regulation. When you treat your day as sacred, not special, just sacred, your nervous system responds. Your breath deepens. Your thoughts soften. Your heart becomes a little more spacious. And in that softening, your ability to hear life's subtler rhythms begins to return. Start with the mornings. Not with productivity, but with presence. A 10-minute walk under the early light, even around your own home or on a balcony, while consciously breathing can act as a reset for your entire energy field. It's not about counting steps or burning calories. It's about making contact with the moment, and letting it hold you. Let the sunlight kiss your skin, even for a second. Let the breeze remind you that everything is always moving, including this phase you're in. What you feed your body reflects how you wish to feel. Think of each meal not as a transaction of nutrition, but as an offering. Color is key here. Nature paints healing into oranges, greens, reds, and when you eat that, you're consuming life itself. Consider how different your body feels when it's nourished by something real, something from the earth. Food, in that sense, becomes medicine, not because it heals something broken, but because it reminds your cells of their original rhythm. And then, before bed, return to yourself. Not through noise or distraction, but through tenderness. This could be as simple as placing your hand on your heart and whispering a sentence of safety. I am held. I am enough. I am coming home to myself. These moments don't need to be grand. In fact, their power lies in their simplicity. Like water smoothing rock over time, consistent softness reconditions even the most tired parts of your being. A gentle truth pulses beneath all this. Your body is not separate from your path. It's not something to drag along while your soul evolves. It is the vessel, the vehicle, the voice through which your entire journey is experienced. And when you begin treating it as such, not with perfection, but with attention, the rest of your life shifts to match that frequency. Color can be an ally in this shift. White brings clarity, a kind of reset for the senses. Turquoise or sea green reminds the body of calm oceans and inner stillness. Surround yourself with these tones, in your clothes, your bedding, even your digital spaces. Let them work gently on your psyche, like a balm for the invisible. What begins as a practice soon becomes a lifestyle. And what may seem like small shifts, a walk here, a breath there, a meal with meaning, eventually become the architecture of a new way of being. One that isn't ruled by stress, but moved by rhythm. One where healing doesn't have to be hard, and joy doesn't need to be earned. There comes a moment, often quiet and unnoticed at first, when the things you've outgrown begin to feel heavier than what you're ready to carry forward. This part of your journey doesn't demand a dramatic exit or a sudden shift. It invites you to notice what no longer fits, not with judgment, but with deep respect for how far those pieces have brought you. When the death card appears in a reading, it's not a warning, it's a sacred announcement. A chapter is complete. Much like the snake that instinctively sheds its skin to grow, transformation is a process of gentle release. The old isn't wrong, it's simply finished its role. And what's ahead can't emerge unless space is made. If you've been feeling restless, emotionally cluttered, or even oddly detached from things you once craved, take it as confirmation. You're not losing control. You're evolving. What once felt like stability may now feel like stagnation, not because you failed, but because you've outgrown a version of yourself that once kept you safe. True transformation rarely starts with fireworks. It begins with honesty. Noticing. Softly admitting, this part of my life no longer reflects who I am becoming. And that simple truth can be more powerful than any grand decision. Because once spoken, it starts to unravel what you've been unconsciously holding onto: old habits, outdated goals, stories about who you think you need to be. The practice of letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means honoring what was, and choosing to move forward anyway. Just as nature teaches us through the rhythm of seasons, there's wisdom in release. Trees do not grieve their falling leaves. They simply allow them to drop, trusting that renewal follows surrender. If you feel called, write down 3 things you're ready to release: behaviors, thoughts, relationships, roles, anything that feels misaligned with your future self. Then, light a candle. Burn the list slowly, with intention, and whisper to yourself, I choose freedom. It doesn't have to be a ritual. It can be a reminder that you're allowed to start again. That release is not rejection. It is readiness. There's also a quiet truth nestled in self-help teachings that applies here. Each time you let go of an old pattern, you create the space for something extraordinary to emerge. Not just externally, but internally. In the pauses you allow. In the silence that grows. That's where your next level rises. And while this process may feel like loss at times, what you're really doing is unbinding your energy. Reclaiming it. Returning it to the parts of your life that deserve more presence, more vitality, more light. This is how transformation works, not with force, but with flow. With trust in the unseen, and reverence for the timing of things. Colors can be a gentle guide during this phase. Amethyst purple helps dissolve lingering attachments and opens you to intuition. Ivory white offers renewal, inviting clarity without pressure. Let these colors surround you as symbols of release and rebirth, not because they change you, but because they remind you that you are changing. Whatever you're shedding now, trust that it's making room for the life you've been quietly preparing for. And no matter how uncertain that space may feel, know this: the emptiness isn't the end. It's the beginning of your becoming. After a period of release, where old skins have been shed and outdated patterns set free, what naturally follows is space. And in that space, love has a chance to re-enter, not in the form of rescue, but as reflection. When the Ace of Cups appears alongside the energy of the lovers, it isn't just a sign that romance is near. It's a reminder that every relationship, at its core, is an invitation to return to yourself more fully. Love begins, always, within. That phrase has become cliché in many circles, but its truth remains undiminished. When you soften toward your own experience, when you stop trying to fix what isn't broken, when you stop performing for connection and start embodying it from within, you shift your frequency. And from that frequency, new types of relationships can find you. Not ones based on validation or urgency, but those built on resonance, ease, and recognition. There may be someone new preparing to enter your life, someone whose energy feels familiar even if you've never met. Or perhaps, if you're already in a relationship, this is a time when things quietly renew. Not through grand gestures, but through honest presence. A small moment of truth-telling. A quiet choice to meet each other where you are now, not where you used to be. Either way, what matters most is how you're showing up for yourself. Are you listening to your needs before asking someone else to? Are you speaking to yourself kindly when no one else is around? These questions aren't meant to test you, they're mirrors. And when answered gently, they create fertile ground for love to bloom naturally, without pressure or pretense. One of the most courageous acts you can commit to this week is radical self-acceptance. Not the kind that waits until you improve or change. The kind that meets you now, in this moment, with all your edges and all your tenderness intact. Imagine loving yourself the way you want to be loved by another, consistently, without fear of abandonment, without needing to earn it. That's not a fantasy. That's a practice. And like any practice, it grows stronger with repetition and care. From a numerological standpoint, the energy of the number 6 surrounds you during this phase. 6 is the number of balance, union, and harmony. It speaks to choices rooted in integrity. When you choose connection, not out of desperation, but from a place of wholeness, you align with its vibration. And love, in its most powerful form, becomes a co-creation. Color, too, can subtly awaken this energy. Peach pink evokes softness, innocence, and emotional openness. Deep ruby red carries a grounded passion, love that knows itself, not one that gets lost in fantasy. Wear these colors, bring them into your space, let them remind you of what you're ready to receive. Love doesn't need to be chased. It doesn't have to be dramatic to be real. And it doesn't require perfection to be powerful. It only asks that you show up with honesty, and a heart willing to be known. The transformation you've walked through has prepared you for this. You've done the inner work. Now, let love meet you where you are, not as a prize, but as a mirror. And when it arrives, whether quietly or in full bloom, you'll recognize it. Because it will feel like coming home to a version of yourself you've always longed to be seen by. Sometimes, after all the inner work has been done, after the releasing, the softening, the remembering of your own worth, what remains is simply waiting. But this waiting isn't passive. It's potent. It's the space in which destiny begins to move. Like a wheel turning in the background of your life, slowly building momentum until, all at once, the forward motion becomes undeniable. The wheel of fortune showing up now is not a coincidence. It's a signal. You're entering a window of time where things may shift faster than you're used to, not because you pushed for them to, but because you've aligned with them. Think of it this way, the efforts you've made up to now were not in vain. Even if the results haven't been immediate or visible, they've been building quietly. And now, that quiet build is beginning to show its first signs of bloom. This next phase isn't asking you to hustle harder. It's asking you to let go a little more. The paradox of life is that some of the most extraordinary things unfold when we stop trying to control every outcome. The wheel, after all, doesn't need your hands to spin, it just needs your permission to move. And when you allow life to surprise you, you invite serendipity back into the equation. Pay attention to small signs over the next 48 hours. A message from someone you haven't spoken to in months. An unexpected email or opportunity. A door you assumed was closed that suddenly appears slightly ajar. These are not accidents. They are ripples created by past intentions, now returning with their own timing. There's a principle found in many ancient philosophies that reminds us, you are not the doer of the fruits, only the planter of the seeds. The fruit ripens on its own, and it's not your role to rush it. Instead, your role is to stay present, receptive, and grateful, so that when the moment does arrive, you're ready to receive it fully, without doubt or resistance. The wheel's energy carries both movement and mystery. It often brings a sense of divine timing, a feeling that what's meant for you is now being delivered, even if the packaging looks different than expected. And that's where trust plays its quiet part. Trust doesn't mean assuming everything will be perfect. It means believing that whatever comes has something to teach you, something to offer, something to reveal. You might notice a golden thread weaving through your recent days, moments of lightness, synchronicities, people arriving just when you needed support or reflection. Let yourself follow that thread. It will lead you to places you never imagined, not because you planned them meticulously, but because you stayed open long enough for them to appear. During this time, colors can act as both symbols and allies. Gold speaks to abundance, not just financial, but spiritual and emotional fullness. Burnt orange holds the warmth of grounded confidence and inner fire. Let these tones surround you, dress you, inspire you. Not to change your path, but to remind you that you're already on it. This isn't about luck in the way the world often describes it. This is about momentum born from alignment. You've been preparing for this moment, whether consciously or not, and now life is beginning to reflect that readiness back to you. The wheel is moving, Leo. You don't need to chase it. Just walk forward, heart open, eyes soft, and know that what's meant for you is already on its way. Leo, as this 2-day journey draws to a close, remember this isn't just the end of April, it's the start of something much bigger. A shift is unfolding within you, and whether it's loud and unmistakable or quiet like a whisper, it's real. You've walked through release. You've tended to your inner space. You've opened to new ways of loving, living, and leading. And now, something within you is catching fire. You are not who you were yesterday. And you're not supposed to be. Growth doesn't always come with fanfare. Sometimes, it's the soft refusal to go back to who you once were. The choice to speak gently to yourself when old patterns resurface. The moment you pause instead of push. The decision to rest instead of hustle. These are not small things. They are turning points. So ask yourself, what will I carry forward from this moment? What inner truth am I finally ready to honor, without apology? What do I already have, within and around me, that can support this next chapter? This is your invitation to remember that you are not waiting for permission from the world. You are the spark. You are the signal. You are the force that moves the wheel, even when it seems to spin on its own. You don't have to control everything to be powerful. You don't have to be perfect to be worthy. And you certainly don't have to do more to deserve the life that's aligning for you. Sometimes, your only job is to stay open. To keep your heart soft. To trust that what you've planted in quiet seasons will bloom in their own timing, just like you. If any part of today's reading resonated with you, I invite you to reflect and share. What angel number has been showing up for you lately? What word captures how you're feeling right now, in this exact moment? And what is the one thing you're wishing for as we cross into the new month ahead? Drop your thoughts in the comments, your voice matters here. Your story might just be the sign someone else needed to hear today. And if you felt held by the messages in this video, don't forget to like it, subscribe to Eternal Mindfulness, and turn on your notifications. That simple action helps us continue sharing these moments of clarity, healing, and expansion, and brings more seekers like you into this circle of light. Thank you, deeply, for being here. Your presence, your energy, your willingness to grow, it means more than you know. You are not alone on this path, and we'll walk through many more chapters together. Leo, trust this, the brightest days are not behind you. They're gathering just ahead, waiting for your heart to be ready, your mind to be steady, and your spirit to say, yes, I'm ready. So go forward with your flame lit and your gaze clear. The universe is watching. The path is opening. And you are just getting started.